is unconstitutional. 48 people on board a plane that crashed in eastern Russia near the border with China have been killed, that according to Russian authorities. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures 213 points lower. More details, srnnews.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free. When I called, my first experience was a feeling of relief. My counselor was kind, and best of all, she didn't judge me. In just a few minutes, she helped me figure out a plan that consolidated all my bills into one lower monthly payment. This substantially reduced my high interest rates and put me on the road to success. In the end, I saved thousands in interest, and today my credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5496.
Big deals are rolling at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Drive off in the 25 GMC Sierra 1500 with $3,750 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months and no payments for 90 days. Upgrade to the Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,750 off or 0% for 36 months. Or go big with the Sierra 3500 Pro. $2,750 off or 3.9% for 48 months. Don't wait. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
It's time for the Logan County Fair, and the Farmers State Bank of Oakley is proud to be involved in many of the events. Look for us clerking the 4-H food and livestock auctions, operating a ride at the Home-Owned Carnival, and participating in the parade. Remember to support our local 4-H members by viewing their projects at the fairgrounds, and be sure to arrive early at the carnival each night to take advantage of discounted wristbands sponsored by the Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community since 1907. Member FDIC.
Today and tomorrow, we'll see a temporary reprieve from the summer heat, with some morning clouds and showers moving off to the east, and afternoon sunshine today. Highs will climb to around 85. Winds will be light from the northeast, turning to the southeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. We can expect another round of showers and thunderstorms this evening and overnight, with 1 or 2 cells becoming marginally severe. Maybe a few wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, a little bit of hail, but heavier rains of 3/4 inch to 1.5 inches can be possible south and east of the line from Sharon Springs to Norton, and lighter amounts to the north and west. Overnight lows will be 60 to 65. Tomorrow, the morning showers and clouds will clear out in the afternoon, and temperatures will climb into the upper 80s to around 90. High pressure will move in tomorrow night through the weekend, and Monday and Tuesday, that'll lead to dry and much warmer conditions. High temperatures will climb into the upper 90s to low 100s. Potential heat advisories. This is meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Summer is heating up, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby has everything you need to make the most of it. Tame that lawn with top-notch weed and feed from Ultimate Fertilizer, and keep those bugs away with powerful pesticides. Plus, Ego mower blowers and trimmers to get that job done fast. Fire up some summer flavor with a Traeger grill or a Blackstone griddle, and if you're building a fence or even fixing a sprinkler, they've got the building materials and supplies to keep your projects moving. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, your summer project headquarters.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
They always have 20-plus specifically priced vehicles on the lot at Affordable Autos in Oakley. Owner Allen offers a good selection of SUVs and cars, luxury, sporty, or economy plus trucks, 2- or 4-wheel drive, different sizes of cabs and boxes, 3/4 or half tons, just a good variety of vehicles. Different name brands from newer models to older units. You'll find very low pricing and financing from the biggest and most aggressive car dealer down Highway 40 through Gove, Logan, and Wallace counties into Colorado. Affordable Autos right across from the Pizza Hut in Oakley.
Med Enterprises, LLC, your fire extinguisher sales and service folk. We're talking Scott and Tanya Jarrett, the owners, specializing in commercial agribusiness portable fire extinguisher service and repairs. And they service most makes and models of extinguishers, and they can perform most repairs and services on site, and they carry new extinguishers for sale too. Call Med Enterprises 785-899-6320 for all your commercial, ag, farm, and home annual certifications, repairs, and maintenance.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Grow your business with Miller Construction Services, LLC in Goodland. They specialize in commercial construction and are your local independent authorized builder for Chief Buildings. Get your planning and project underway now. Call Matt at 785-899-5231. Whatever your commercial needs are, contact Miller Construction Services, licensed and bonded general contractors. Visit millercs.com. millercs.com.
You ready? One, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Covering it all from the preps.
Fastball swing and a miss and a strikeout there for Kaysen Cedarstrom.
To the pros.
Mahomes keeps it on an RPO at the 5. Gets a lead block. He goes into the end zone near side. Touchdown, Kansas City.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Right here. This one out to deep center. Young back at the wall. Jacob Young defying gravity.
Pasquantino launches it to right center field. Crow Armstrong races back, looks up. It's out of here. Another home run for Vinny Pasquantino. His second home run of the game. 2 more RBIs. It is the Pasquatch's day in Wrigley.
High fly ball center field, headed for the seats, reaching them again. 5th consecutive game with a Shohei home run. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. And for the first time in more than 3 years, the Rockies notch a shutout.
Can you believe that stat? I mean, that is absolutely one of the most ridiculous stats I have heard in a really long time. The Colorado Rockies yesterday with a 6-0 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals get their first shutout victory over an opponent in 220 games, or as Jack Corrigan, the voice of the Colorado Rockies, said right there, pretty much 3 years. That is unbelievable. Like, that is how I think it proves a couple of points. Number one, I think it proves how bad Colorado Rockies pitching has been, but I think it also proves how difficult it is to keep goose eggs on the board, particularly at home for the Colorado Rockies when opponents come there. I mean, 220 games. I mean, they play 162. It's been a while since they've had a shutout victory. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous stat. But hey, if you want a bright spot, another bright spot besides that, Rockies 4-2 since the All-Star break and back-to-back series victories. And there's another fun stat about that as well. I'll see if I can pull that up here real quick, but there's another fun stat about that on back-to-back series victories for the Rockies. I think, golly, for the first time in a long time, I was trying to see, first time since September of last year. So back-to-back series wins for the first time since September. So look out, the Rockies are hot. They're going to make an unbelievable late charge here. Look out. No, they've dug themselves such a deep hole. There's No way they are getting out of that. Anyway, happy Thursday morning, everybody. So glad you could join us here on this edition of the Morning Blitz. No matter which way you are listening on Goodland's Rocket 1025 or NWKSradio.net, or maybe you're watching on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream this morning again on YouTube and X. No Facebook again today, although I did post it on my Facebook page, a link to it, but that's just to YouTube. We will have us back live on Facebook tomorrow. They are still doing some live streaming from the Thomas County Fair here this morning. We'll be back on tomorrow for a Friday show. Boy, I tell you, what an interesting night last night. I mean, we were over at the Thomas County Fair ourselves. Cutting watermelon was NWKS Radio. And of course, what usually happens is my whole family just kind of goes over there and we spend the evening there and ride some rides with the kids. But that did not happen because of just an absolute rain shower that came coming through and, dumped anywhere from what I've seen, an inch in Colby. I've seen anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to Park all the way up to about 1.60 inches over near Grainfield. There is quite a bit of water that was dumped down. And I've been cutting watermelon now at the at the fair there. At the Thomas County Fair. I think we were saying, I think it was like year number 13 for me that I've done it. And I don't ever remember that. I don't remember it being raining on that day and being as wet as it was. Do not ever remember that. It has, I've been to other fairs where it's been colder, especially here in Goodland last year. I think it was kind of chilly on a night. But to see that kind of rain come down, that was certainly different. Don't see that very often at the Thomas County Fair. Usually it's really hot, and on top of that, usually really windy, and we're cutting watermelon, and here comes a gust of dirt, and then you're like, oh, great, get some dirt in your watermelon, just what everybody wants. But so an interesting night last night, but I hope everyone's doing well and ready to charge into this Thursday, where because of that storm that kind of blew through, going to have some cooler temperatures, at least for the next couple of days. Temperature is going to stay in the 80s, I think 85 today. Right now, cloudy and 66 outside the KKCI studios here in Goodland. And then we expect a little bit warmer temperatures on Friday. And then we get to the weekend and we are hot. Temperatures back into the mid-90s for Saturday and Sunday. And it looked like we could see triple digits coming back around here start of next week. So a little bit of a cool down due to this wonderful rain. But we will see. It will only last a couple of days. But back to that summertime heat coming up here in a little bit. As always, FB Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, would love to hear from you. You can also, of course, as always, chime in on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Would love to hear from you there. If you'd like to get your thoughts and comments in, I will we'll get to those as best we possibly can. Today's program, we're going to be visited by a good friend of the program, Cole Linton, former Goodland Cowboy pitcher, now pitching up in the Northwoods League for the Green Bay Rockers. Great nickname, by the way. He's up there pitching currently right now up there in Wisconsin. And Cole is going to join us and talk about his experience up there in the Northwoods League, which is pretty much considered, I would say, probably the second best summer league there is. It's one of the top three in my, I don't know, I guess, I don't know all the baseball summer leagues, but I would say it's one of the better ones. I think number one is by far, it is the Cape Cod League up there in the Northeast, played on the Cape of Massachusetts. I've been there. It's amazing. It's awesome. And the baseball is great. It's a super unique. It's like, I call it like baseball heaven is really what it is. And then probably the Northwoods League. There's the Alaskan League, which is so cool and unique. They can play for 24 hours straight because they've got sunlight. It's very, very cool and unique. A chance to play summer league baseball no matter where across the country. And so we'll get Cole Linton on the program to talk about his experience up there in the Northwoods League, which, by the way, having pretty good showing this far. So we'll get to him coming up on the program here in about 15 minutes or so. We will also get to some really good news for high school sports. That's coming up in segment 3. Some fantastic news for high school sports shared by the NFHS and also Keisha. Some good news there coming up in segment 3. That's all coming up in today's program. But like I said, if you want to get part of the program, hit us up on the text line 785-899-2222. All right. Let's get rolling with today's opening topic today. So I didn't know. There was a couple topics, and maybe we'll do the other one tomorrow. I know we're getting into, I know there's a lot of NFL fans that love to talk NFL football, and I would love to talk more NFL football. We did with Nick Athen earlier this week. But we're still in training camp, and it's all about just kind of what you see. And I could read you the report about what happened in Chiefs training camp, what happened and there is some interesting news around Chiefs training camp. They apparently have got a young wide receiver that's coming along that could be really, really good for Kansas City. And in Denver, they're talking about Bo Nix and all of his development, spending time with Drew Brees, trying to learn Sean Payton's offense, and guys getting healthier that are coming back, like J.K. Dobbins among them. So it's just news for the most part. But I came across an interesting article a couple days ago. And like I said, and so we might get into some NFL talk tomorrow. I think we probably will, barring something comes up. But they did an article about overrated and underrated NFL teams, which I thought was interesting to see who was overrated and who was underrated based upon fan votes. So we'll get to that probably tomorrow. But I want to dip back into college football again as we continue to get closer to the season. By the way, I saw the line for Kansas State and Iowa State in the opener in Dublin. We'll talk about that hopefully coming up in the walk-off. So we're getting closer, starting to see those lines. But I wanted to get to this article that came out in The Athletic, and I thought it was interesting to see how this was all broken down. So The Athletic went through and ranked every Power 4 college football program based upon their program valuations. So they pretty much came up with a ranking for a Power 4 team to send how much they would sell for. So if they, in today's college athletics and college football world, we're getting closer. That line between professional and college is getting more and more blurred. And so it's kind of interesting to see, so how people look at it this way. And so anyway, The Athletic's Matt Baker went diving into this thing. And what if your college football program, how much would it take to buy them? Like, how much is your football program worth? And if you were to buy them like an NFL franchise, if you were to buy, or any other professional franchise, if you want to buy the Rays, which were recently up for sale, or you want to buy whoever it might be, a professional team, how much money would it take to purchase that team? And, in the NFL, it's going to cost multiple billions of dollars to buy a franchise. It's going to cost a few $1 billion to buy some MLB teams. It was interesting to see where college football teams would rank if you were to try and buy them as we sit here right now. Based upon, I'm guessing a lot of this has to do with, fan base, has to do with facilities, has to do with, NIL, all that stuff, brand, where they come from. And so it was interesting to see which team. Now, I was not surprised to see who team number one was in this ranking, according to Matt Baker. And most of you could sit there and yell this team out. The number one team, according to NCAA FBS program valuation projections, is Texas. Texas brings in an average football revenue of about $183 million a year. Their projected sale price would be $2.38 billion. And they are by far the number one team. I mean, no, they're actually kind of in a tier of their own. They're the only program that is projected at over $2 billion and 2.38. I mean, pretty darn close to $2.5 billion. After that, you've got Georgia, who is at number 2 at $1.92 billion, just a little bit less than that. They bring in an average football revenue of 147. And so honestly, the top 10, if you want to roll through the top 10 just real quickly, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, followed by Notre Dame at number 4, Michigan at 5, Alabama 6, Oklahoma 7, USC 8, Tennessee is 9, and LSU is 10. All of those teams are worth over $1.2 billion at this projected price. So it is interesting to see that. And you kind of have to go down. I mean, before we get to kind of our first area or regional college football team that we talk about or touch on more with this program, you would find Nebraska coming down there. Probably, let's see, there is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th is where Nebraska comes in at $930 million is where they think that. Now, they are top 10 in average football revenue, but once again, as they said here in the explanation behind Nebraska being at the spot where they are, you have to take into fact they haven't finished ranked since 2012 or beaten a ranked team since 2016, and 30 years removed from their last national championship. They really haven't stood out in the Big Ten, and that makes Nebraska a shakier investment. The program looks more like a depreciating asset than a team on the rise. And so I can't deny any of that stuff, but that's where they find Nebraska sitting there still at 17, though, despite all the bad years. I still think is pretty darn good at $930 million. Washington and Texas A&M, which is shocker to be down at 15, is kind of surprising because they have a ton of money. But it's not all about money. It's about lots of other things on what their worth is in comparison to having success and things of the sort, which is why you see a lot of the teams that are playing for college football playoff spots and national championships are all there 1 through 10, usually in this list. So anyway, that was interesting. You find Nebraska there, and you had to scroll down a little bit further to find the next team. Surprisingly, a little bit enough is they find Colorado is actually worth more money than Kansas State. Colorado brings in an annual revenue, which I am surprised, at $54.6 million. Kansas State brings in an average yearly football revenue of $53.6, so $1 million difference. Colorado is worth $3.28 million. Kansas State rewrite that. Colorado worth $328 million. Kansas State worth $321 million. I thought that was fascinating to see that. That was very, very interesting to see Colorado and Kansas State in that spot. So, and they said here, although we can't isolate Deion Sanders' impact on Colorado, we conservatively estimated it to be at least $50 million. So they are saying that that Coach Prime being there is worth $50 million at this point in time. Which honestly, I probably can't. I can't really probably refute that. I mean, he has been a splash of power in that program. I mean, he has brought a whole lot of attention to that program. So I really can't deny that. But it is fascinating to see Colorado ahead of Kansas State. When you look at the success that they've had, you would think, once again, we'll see. Yeah, I would think Kansas State's going to have more success probably in the future than Colorado will. I mean, heck, Coach Prime can't even make it back to Boulder. He's still dealing with health problems, it looks like. But I did find that interesting that Colorado was just ahead of Kansas State by a couple spots. And if you're a KU fan, well, you got to go down into that third tier before you find where Kansas sits. And Kansas football currently sitting at 61 in this rankings. They average football revenue $39 million. They are considered to be worth about $197 million on a projected price is where you find those. But it's you think about Kansas, you're the 14th ranked Big 12 team. If you're Kansas State, you are, I think, the 8th Big 12 team. Colorado is the 7th ranked Big 12 team. So those two are kind of the middle. Kansas is at the bottom. The only two that they are ahead of is Cincinnati and Houston at this point in time. So kind of towards the bottom there. Houston, by the way, is the program on the very bottom of the Power 4 rankings at $91 million, which is fascinating because if you think about it, I mean, if Houston ever got rolling, there's big time money there in Houston. I mean, from oil, you name it. I mean, that could be an absolute powerhouse. And I think that's, if you look back to when Dana Holgorsen was the head coach at West Virginia and then left to go to Houston, I mean, he probably thought that. He thought this place it could be a gold mine if we can get it going. Now, they never did. But, I mean, it could be. It's almost kind of like an SMU from back in the, 80s and 90s. Could be that way. So that's why I view Houston. So they've got a great recruiting base. So it's amazing to me to see them all the way down there at the very bottom. But honestly, that would be one that I'd say you could buy low on and see a humongous return on investment if you did it that way. I really do think that, because that could be worth a lot of money in the coming years if they're able to figure out and navigate the Big 12 conference. But I thought this was a fascinating article. You could read more about it on The Athletic if you want to, but I just thought it was interesting to see where certain teams stack up when it comes to their projected price. If you were able to buy your favorite college football program, how much would it cost to do it according to this, based upon lots of factors, including average football revenue and all that stuff. And I just thought it was fascinating to see where some of these teams stack up. And I was trying to see if there's like anything that just stood out that was just absolutely random. And it's really not. If you look at like I said, Colorado being ahead of Kansas State was a little bit surprising. Kansas State maybe being down as far as they were, maybe a little bit surprising. I figured they'd be a little bit higher. I mean, the teams that are ahead of Kansas State and Colorado, there's some that are interesting. You've got like Syracuse, which is interesting. Purdue, which is interesting. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, every Big Ten team, I think, let me double check this. Nope, I'm wrong on that. I take that back. Sorry. But all but two Big Ten teams are ahead of the top, or are ahead of of 6 and below in the Big 12, which is interesting. I mean, it really does show you about the power of it being in a big conference. I was trying to see where the lowest ranked SEC team is. Missouri and Kentucky are 13 and 14th, but they're still in tier number 2. So there's a couple SEC teams. Yeah, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt are 15 and 16 respectively, and they're in that third tier, but still ahead of like teams like Kansas and stuff. I don't know. It's a fascinating article to see where they think. But you definitely, if you've got conference affiliation, in particular if you're in one of the bigger two conferences, the SEC or the Big Ten, where you're bringing in more money every year due to television revenue, I don't know. I find that just fascinating. Very fascinating. But Texas, no doubt, the most valuable, apparently, program in all of college football, $2.38 billion. The next closest one is Georgia at 1.92. That's the next closest one. So, and that's a pretty significant gap. I mean, almost $50 million that separates number 1 from number 2. So we'll see. Hasn't resulted in any national championships here recently, but they're definitely worth a lot of money. Speaking of, real quick before we get to break here, I wanted to bring up this point. Anybody happen to see the report from Adam Schefter, shifting gears, going over to the NFL? Anybody happen to see what the revenue sharing was in the NFL this previous year? In the NFL, what the revenue sharing was? Each NFL team this year, for its national revenue sharing for the NFL, they all received a cool $432.6 million. Just to kind of put that in perspective, each college football team, I think in like the SEC, or I know in the Big Ten, it's like $70 to $75 million. In the SEC, it's like $55 to $60 million. That's what each team gets. Each NFL team, now there's only, 32? $432.6 million. That means that the NFL brought in a record last year, $13.8 billion in the fiscal year. That is unbelievable. That is why it is the king of sports, whatever you want, a king of sports. It's what it is. The NFL is the king. For $13.8 billion is what it brought in last year. Each team getting 432.6 of it. Wow. That is ridiculous amounts of number. That's a ridiculous number. Okay, let's get to a timeout. It's 7:29 Mountain, 8:29 Central Time. We'll take a break. We come back. We're changing gears. We're talking some baseball with Cole Linton, former Goodland Cowboy, the reigning Jayhawk West Pitcher of the Year, and now pitching up in the Northwoods League with the Green Bay Rockers. He will join us next here on the Morning Blitz.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
This is Austin Wright with the Anderson's Trade Group and your morning comments and market update, 7/24/2025. September corn futures, 401 at the pause. December corn futures, 419.5 at the pause. And March 26 corn futures, 436.5 at the pause. Moving on to KC wheat. September KC wheat, 527.75 at the pause. December KC wheat, 549.75 at the pause, and March 26 KC wheat 570.25 at the pause. Going on to soybeans, we have August soybeans 10.07.75 at the pause, November soybeans 10.26, and January 26 soybeans 10.43.75 at the pause. Moving on to the broader markets, the Dow Jones futures is up 387 points on the overnight. S&P futures up 31 points on the overnight. NASDAQ futures up 54.27 points. Gold down $39.50. Crude is up 77 cents. For your grain marketing needs or more market information on our Freedom pricing tools, you can reach the Kansas City office, Jared Law, Tyler Ghosh, Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. In Colorado, John Hankey and John Stiles, 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Fields. And when you share your experience with us, you'll get a chance to win a 2-year lease on a new truck. Sign up at yieldchallenge.basf.us. No purchase necessary. See official rules for details. Always read and follow label directions.
It's game time.
What time is it? Game time!
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
Interesting point off the text line as we get back here in segment 2, going back to about the NFL and the amount of money that's being thrown around to each franchise, $432.6 billion. But he goes, that's why there will be an 18-game season in a year. Money talks. Yep, there's no doubt. There is no doubt about that. One place where they don't play for really any money is probably the Northwoods League, but I would assume that they're up there to have a good time and harness their craft. And I'm very excited to welcome back to the show. We asked if he would do this with us when he was in studio, probably a month or so ago. But Cole Linton kind of to join us now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. He former Goodland Cowboy. He is the reigning KJCCC Pitcher of the Year and now pitching for the Green Bay Rockers. Cole, good morning. How we doing up there?
Morning, Ross. Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. How has this experience been to this point in time? This is your first ever experience of playing summer league ball in one of the better leagues in all of this level. So, what's it been like?
It's been amazing so far. Playing in front of thousands of people every night, and playing against guys from big schools, the UCLA, Arizona, Florida State, playing in some really good competition and, seeing some really good talent that, I'm trying to get to someday. So it gives me a good idea of where I need to be at for sure.
For those who maybe didn't follow along from the very beginning, how did this all come about with you getting to go up there? How did Green Bay become the team that you got to go to? Just kind of walk us through that process on, learning about getting to go play in it, getting the team that you were selected to go play in. How did that all happen?
Honestly, I don't even really know how it all happened exactly. Kind of towards after the fall season last year at Cloud and kind of in the winter, kind of started talking about summer plans for every guy. And our head coach up here now is from Kansas, Wichita guy, coaches at, he's at North Iowa Area Community College, but had some Cloud guys that played for him last summer in Pennsylvania. So I think there was a good connection between our head coach Gilly at Cloud and him. So I think it just ended up working out well that he was up here. And so kind of just followed up here also.
Well, so far through 20 games, the Green Bay Rockers are 12-8. Although, I don't know, ever since you've been up there, been 7-3. So you must be the good luck Chuck that's up there, apparently, for Green Bay. So I don't know how's that happening?
I kind of had some really hot streaks. We also had some kind of cold streaks. So I guess it's baseball. It happens, but I don't know. But we've been playing well, and hopefully we can continue to do that going into later into the year.
It wasn't that long ago that you kind of got your first taste of it. What was that like, going out to the mound, getting the call to go out there and pitch? And then what were the emotions on the mound like when you got to go out on the mound for the first time here in the Northwoods League?
I was definitely nervous. My first outing was a 1-1 ball game going into the 8th inning. So I was in a very tight situation to start it off, and then ended up getting a 6-out save to get my first win, and we took the lead in the 9th, so just needed to get 3 outs to win it. But yeah, it was very nervous in the moment, but I love those moments, and definitely one of the cooler kind of welcome to the league moments for sure.
Cole Linton is our guest. He's pitching up in the Northwoods League with the Green Bay Rockers this summer. What has you talked about, playing a lot of good competition. I mean, is it one of those deals where when you went in there for the first time, or you stepped into the clubhouse for the first time, like, oh my gosh, these are some really, really good players, and I don't know how I'm going to stack up? And then how has it really kind of felt ever since you've gotten settled?
Yeah, definitely when we first got there, it was kind of, whoa, I'm playing with guys from UCLA and Baylor and, schools like that. And it's like, but also kind of once I started getting into it, it was, I can compete at this level. I can play with these guys. 2 nights ago, I pitched against Madison, where I struck out Gary Sheffield and Mike Sweeney's kids. So, moments like that. That was probably my favorite moment of the whole summer, probably one of the coolest moments of my baseball career, honestly. But also gives me the confidence, I can compete at that level and compete against guys that, are Power 4 baseball players.
What do you learn, in these experiences? Are you getting great coaching during the time off, or is it just about getting reps in games? I'm just kind of curious what that's like during a summer league session.
Yeah, definitely more so about getting reps. Obviously the coach is there to help you and if you need anything, but at this level, you should kind of be able to figure out, hey, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do but differently? And obviously, you guys will ask coaches what's going on and stuff like that. But a lot of it is just kind of keep doing your own thing, especially not your school coaches are coaching you, so they don't really necessarily want to mess up anything that you had been doing in the spring or fall. But yeah, definitely mostly kind of individualized learning for the most part.
Cole Linton continue to be our guest here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. According to the stats here, once again, I could be off on here, but you've made 4 appearances so far this year, correct?
Yep.
So far, and it looks like it's kind of been all over the place, buddy. Anywhere from what happened against Lakeshore to what happened against Madison last time out. It definitely is like you said, it's baseball. It can be a little humbling at times, but also really rewarding.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, yeah. And I mean, that's obviously part of the learning experience, right? I mean, first outing was really good, and then my next two starts didn't go as I would hoped, and then I kind of figured out Tuesday night against Madison. So it's kind of been all over the board, but also it's a really good learning opportunity is, you know, if you don't spot a fastball very well or a breaking ball, then guys are going to hit it, and they're going to hit it hard. So, you know, learning that kind of stuff is probably more valuable than anything that I've learned up here so far, is just being able to attack and execute a game plan.
Tough part is the offense didn't give you much help in your best performance. That was rough.
No, yeah, that happens. It's baseball. I mean,
no, absolutely.
No, yeah.
Cole Linton continue to be our guest here on the Morning Blitz. He's the reigning 2025 KJCCC Pitcher of the Year, now pitching up in Green Bay with the Rockers. What's it like pitching up there in the northern part of the U.S.? I'm guessing it's just beautiful weather almost every evening.
Well, it's very beautiful weather about 7:30, but anytime before that, it's about 70% humidity, and it may be 80 degrees, but it's going to feel like 95. So but the weather's beautiful for the most part up here. A little warm, but it's summer. It's how it should be.
I mean, as a pitcher, that can't be all bad. You like that, keeps the joints and the ligaments all nice and loose and greased up with that humidity and heat.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, be able to stay hot longer, but also using a lot more rosin than I usually do this summer. But
like they got to refill that rosin bag every night. It's just getting
exactly.
Everyone is sweating up a storm up there in Green Bay.
Absolutely.
What is this league like? You know, for those who've never been up there or experienced it, what's it kind of like playing against all these different teams? By the way, great. I mean, there's no greater nicknames than you're probably going to find. I mean, there are some amazing nicknames up there. I mean, do you have a favorite nickname yet? I mean, there are some really good ones.
Oh, gosh.
The Rockers, of course, is really good, but there's some other great ones.
Right. You know, there's some teams, I think they're from Traverse, Michigan. They're called the Traverse City Pit Spitters, and like cherry pits.
The Traverse City, the Pit Spitters. That's right, the Pit Spitters.
Last night we did kind of a promotional day, and you know, we're usually the Rockers, kind of like we have bands at every game. So last night we did a Green Bay Rollers theme where we were like toilet paper themed. So it was very toilet paper logo and toilet paper jerseys. It was all sorts of weird and fun stuff going on.
I mean,
but, you know, there's a lot of really fun.
I mean, it is. I mean, it is kind of, you bring up a great point. I mean, this kind of summer league stuff, it is kind of like minor league baseball to an extent, particularly on the promotional side of things.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you have watched any of the, you know, Northwoods League streaming, there's always commercials of, you know, Max Scherzer, Pete Alonso, guys like that played up here. And they compare it to a minor league baseball schedule for the players, you know, playing every single day, traveling a lot. And but also the stadiums we play at are very similar to minor league games and all the different stuff going on in the stadium. So from that standpoint, it's really, really interesting and pretty cool to be a part of.
No, absolutely. So do the players have to be a part of any stuff? Like if you're not pitching on a certain night, do you have to be a part of some of the fun promotional things or no?
Not necessarily have to. Usually the day after you pitch, if it's a home game, we kind of stay in and greet fans and sign some autographs at the gates. But, you know, kind of some of the between inning, do some games and stuff going on. You know, player bowling, a little kid will roll out a ball and there'll be about 6 players that'll get hit by the ball and then kind of wiggle around like a pinball and fall down. So, I mean, stuff like that, yeah, we're a part of. So we connect with the fans quite a bit for sure.
Do you enjoy that? I mean, I know you're a very serious guy about your craft, but do you enjoy that stuff when you when you're not called to pitch in the mound?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that being a lot
kids
of fun.
Yell your number.
Yeah.
Yeah, having kids yell your number in the dugout when you're just sitting there watching the game, having sign autographs, and talking to kids from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. So, I mean, it's kind of being fun, you know, because you remember being that age too. And so, I remember thinking these guys were in the MLB at the time too. So it's really cool for those kids also.
Yeah, absolutely. Cole Linton, our guest here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. you came in July and the season had kind of already gotten underway. Is that kind of way it is? Do guys just kind of move in and out, or does is the roster kind of getting full now to where everyone's there right now, or do guys come, do guys go? How does that kind of work?
It's kind of been all over the place, honestly. There's first half guys, which was from kind of the beginning of the season till June. But since then, most of the position guys have stayed the same, but I think all but 2 or 3 pitchers have stayed from the first half. So it's a brand new pitching staff. And we've gotten, since the All-Star break, gotten a few more pitchers, a few more position players, a few more guys have left. So it's kind of just bouncing all over the place. Again, you kind of compare it to like a minor league or major league team where it's guys are getting called up, guys are getting sent down. Not quite to that extent, obviously, but very similar to that, kind of just random guys joining the team at really random times too.
Well, you guys currently are sitting in second place in your own division behind the Wausau Woodchucks. Another great nickname, by the way. You're only a game and a half back of the Woodchucks at this point in time. What's the postseason picture looking like at this time? Because we're getting closer to the postseason. I mean, it's going to start ramping up here. Probably beginning of August, I would guess.
Yeah, I think the second week of August. I think it starts. Yeah. So the Rockers actually won the first half. So the Northwoods League splits into 2 halves, the first half, second half of the summer. If you win the first half in your division, you get an automatic bid to the playoffs. So we could have lost every single game in the second half and still made it to the playoffs because we won the first half.
Boys, we're throwing in the towel. We
exactly,
made the postseason.
Yep. So from there, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but we'll get a for sure playoff spot. And then I think the playoffs start August 11th, which kind of hurts me and some of my Cloud teammates because we have to move in the 9th. So we may not be able to be here for the playoffs, but definitely we'll still be watching from Concordia for sure.
No, absolutely. Cole Linton continue to be our guest. What is it like, away from the diamond? Is there much time to get away from the diamond, or is it pretty much, you're at the diamond, you go to bed, you wake up, you go back to the diamond? What is it all like? Do you have a host family that you're staying with, or how does it all work there at the Northwoods League?
Yeah, so I'm actually calling from my host family's house right now, in my bedroom. Everyone gets a host family. You live with them, and super awesome. I have an awesome family here. Super grateful that they opened their doors to me. But I mean, you don't get a lot of time, right? For a 6 o'clock home game, we're usually at the stadium by 2:30, and then until probably 10:30 at night, and then trying to get a workout in sometime before. So I mean, I'm probably gone from the house at 11:30 every day at least, and not going to be home for another 12 hours. And for away games, we're gone by 1 o'clock and we're getting back by midnight. So it's just kind of a constant baseball, which is not a bad thing by any means.
Nope. And that's like you said, it's kind of like the minor leagues. Don't you say? Is the travel bad or is the travel good? What's the travel like? Long distances? What's it like there?
It hasn't been too bad for the second half. I think the furthest we've gone was, I think we'll be in Madison, which is 2.5 hours. So that's not too bad. But most of the best rides have been an hour 45, 2 hours. But the first half they had to go to Michigan. So they had 6-hour bus rides a couple of times. So definitely teams we're playing in our division are a lot closer, luckily, but travel hasn't been too bad yet.
Well, when you grow up, with a conference game that's 3 to 3.5 hours away, you're just used to that stuff.
Absolutely. That's why I told my teammates, hour 15 bus ride is a blink and you're already there.
I was going to say, that's a piece of cake for where I'm from, amigo. Well, this is great. What are you hoping to, I'll let you go on a couple more here, but what are you looking to improve upon here over your next few outings before you're done playing up there? What do you want to get better at, or where are you hoping to see some improvement in?
Definitely just kind of stay consistent with locating pitches. That was kind of something I struggled with early in the summer and need to get back to doing like I was doing in the spring. But developing a changeup I've kind of worked on this summer, and it's worked a lot better now. Just adding pitches to the repertoire for this next coming year. So mostly stuff like that.
I'll let you go on this one, Cole. Cole Linton, once again, our guest here on the Morning Blitz, pitching up in the Northwoods League. So I'll leave this texter out. You know this. Trust me, you know this texter, but I won't say his or her name. But I have to ask about you getting booed and cheered in the same game versus the same batter. Can you please relive that for us?
I think I know exactly who you're talking about right now. But
you probably do.
Yep. So at every game, home or away, the home team designates a batter from the away team to be the beer batter. So if the home pitcher strikes out the beer batter at any point in the game, then the whole stadium gets half off beer or free beer for an inning. I'm not sure exactly.
Absolutely.
What it is,
Great promotion. Love it.
Yep, exactly. So I think last time I pitched, I think he grounded out against me the first time, so I got a little boost for that. Then struck him out the next time, and the whole stadium goes crazy. And it's really fun to look out and see after I strike him out, a bunch of people get up and leave to go get a beer. That was one of my favorite moments of the summer too. So, I mean, it's so fun. I don't know, I got out, so it's so fun.
I'm so glad that person texted in with that question. I did not know anything about that, and that is hilarious. So I love it. That is awesome.
It's awesome.
The beer batter. I just want to be the beer batter guy. Can I be the beer batter guy? I just want to be that guy.
I know my teammates have talked about striking out on purpose just to be the fan favorite, but
up there. Hey, you already clinched a playoff spot. You might as well be a fan favorite while you're up there.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
All right. Cole Linton, once again, the reigning Jayhawk pitcher of the year. And of course, now pitching for the Green Bay Rockers up there in Wisconsin. Cole, really appreciate you joining us, my friend. We'll have you on again sometime later on, but best of luck finishing out this season up there up in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Once again, great stuff there from Cole Linton. And we were talking about, a little bit, we were talking about the nicknames of these teams. And it is honestly amazing. These nicknames are awesome. I mean, pit spitters, growlers, battle jacks, leprechauns, kingfish, rivets, woodchucks, rockers, mallards, the dock spiders. Let's see, the rapid rafters, the loggers, the border cats, the honkers. There's a good one. Moon dogs, the hot tots. Love all those great nicknames. That's awesome. All right, let's get to timeout. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show with some great news for high school sports. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
Big deals are rolling at Hurl Chevrolet GMC.
CoonsRussellFuneralHome.com.
When it comes to electrical work, Lohr Electric does more. Whether it's wiring your home, lighting up your business, or powering your farm, Zach and the crew have you covered. From energy-saving LED upgrades to setting up grain bins in the field, Lohr Electric handles residential, commercial, and ag projects with expert care. And when you call, they'll actually call you back fast. For top-notch service and serious know-how, call Lohr Electric, because they don't just do more, they care more at Lohr Electric.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Breaking down the plays, the players, and the passion.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
This is the Morning Blitz.
Thanks again to Cole Linton for joining the program. That was always fun. If you missed any of that conversation with him, you can catch up on the podcast or the YouTube stream after the show. Cole, by the way, I forgot to give out his stats. 4 games pitched, one win, 1 loss, and 17 innings of work. 21 hits, 13 runs, just 12 earned, 4 walks, 13 Ks. Once again, his command is fantastic. ERA, he'd probably say a little high, 6.35, but pretty darn solid, I'd say, for Cole Linton. Look forward to seeing what he does here with a couple more weeks to go before he's got to get back and report to Cloud as the reigning Jayhawk pitcher of the KJCC, pitcher of the West there in the KJCCC. So, but thanks again to Cole Linton for joining the program. It's great to visit with him and get his experience up there in the Northwoods League, which, like I said, is probably the second best league, summer league in college ball, behind the Cape Cod League, I'd say. Very, very good competition up there. Okay, great news for high school sports. Our final topic here. As news came out, I saw from friend of the program now, Kyle Doporowski, who has joined the program to talk about things with Keisha. The National Federation of High Schools has announced that high school officials are up 6% from last year. The number of registered high school officials remains above pre-pandemic levels and grew by 6% during last school year. So this is a fantastic, all sports except, once again, this is the National High School or Federation of High Schools, but 11 sports: baseball, basketball, football, hockey, lacrosse, that'd be boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse, soccer, swimming and diving, track and field, cross country, volleyball, and wrestling are all up. In fact, the biggest one is track and cross country, up 53%. Wrestling up 22%, volleyball 18%, swimming and diving 10%, soccer 13%, ice hockey at 6%, football at 10%, basketball at 4%, but baseball is where help is needed the most. Just 1% rise in baseball officials at this point in time. At just 1%, they are seeing rises. I mean, would it like to be better? Absolutely. 27 states reported that they were back above pre-pandemic levels in 24-25. So they're getting back up there. But like I said, a 6% increase. It's not a ton, but if you think about it, according to this article, estimated loss of close to 50,000 officials during COVID and dipping to as low as just under 190,000 officials in 2019-20. But that is can slowly increase, and once again, a 6% increase. It's great. It's great news. We have to have officials in order to have high school events. We have to have these things. I admit, I believe last year we saw more officials, particularly young officials, which is great. More female officials, which is great. I love that. And once again, we have to have the grace to allow them to do their job to the best of their ability. And for some of them, especially the young ones, they're learning as they go. And I hope that we continue to see more of that. I think it's great to see some of these younger men and women coming up and officiating these games because we got to have them. Have to have them. Otherwise, these things cannot go on. We cannot be playing games without the people out there fortifying or holding up the rules of the game. And so this is great news that high school officials are up 6%. I hope it continues to grow, and I think it will if we continue to see these young people coming back and helping keep these great sports going for the youth playing sports right now. All right, on to the walk-off.
High drive, deep left, grand slam!
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Boy, talk about a tough day for New York Jets fans out there. Justin Fields, the projected starting quarterback, was carted off the field with an apparent injury this morning. Rough. That is very, very rough. Tough news with a leg injury for Justin Fields. They were not in a great spot with him even as the starting quarterback. Now might be even a little bit thinner. I mentioned it off the top of the show. Saw that the opening line is out there for K-State versus Iowa State in Dublin to kick off the season. Wildcats favored by 3. I'm telling you, that game is going to be a good one. It's going to be highly competitive, highly entertaining. I think it's going to come down to the last possession or so. Could come down to a field goal. I think it's going to be good, and it's huge. I mean, this is a very, very big game. Played very, very early in the season for setting yourself up if you're going to be possibly in the college football playoff, possibly contending for a Big 12 title. This is a massive, massive game. The pressure is huge. I believe, actually, in fact, practice is underway currently right now because I know KU got practice started today, so K-State's playing on the same day, so practice is underway. But, man, that's going to be a dandy of a game over in Dublin. No doubt about it, K-State and Iowa State. All right, that does it for the program. Thanks to Cole Linton. That was a fun conversation with him. Thanks to you for listening. We're back tomorrow on a Friday to wrap up the week. Hope you'll tune in and join us then. It's been the Blitz.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5. KKCI Goodland.